All right then, everyone, we are live and good to go for the second day of testing here for the NEF1 Season 10. And with me in the commentary box for the first time ever on stream as well, we welcome SamObamo25. Welcome to the stream, buddy. How are you doing?
Hello. Nice to see you.
Indeed, it's brilliant to have you here. Thankfully, we got the technology working this time around. I had a couple of technical mishaps last time out, but it came working in the end, thankfully, and obviously now working here as well. First time in the stream for you as well. How does it feel?
Nerve-wracking to be fair.
A bit nerve-wracking. Your teammate did quite all right, so we're hoping for a similar performance here as it would be on track, surely.
He's used to it.
Indeed, indeed. I've got to stop saying indeed as well. I'm just going to point that out now. The amount of times I say that word is absolutely horrifying. But well, vocabulary is on the rise, everyone. It's gonna start improving from here on out. I promise you that. So, Samo, a good first day of testing for you. I seem to recall you doing very well in the first session as well. They're coming strong at the end. So how are you getting to grips the Alpine now after having done quite a couple of hours in it already?
The Alpine feels good. It's not the car that I was expecting to be in this season, but it feels good.
I know, obviously, we were talking about it quite a bit. Obviously, there's always speculation in fire lapper chats and everything. You didn't mind going in the Alpine, though, did you?
Hell no.
If there was one car you could have picked, if you were an EF1 champion, what car would you have ended up in?
I would have stayed in the RB.
Stayed in the... Oh, yeah, it's
Yes.
a good-looking car, that Racing Bull's now driven by Onruchek, and obviously Noah, whom you've done quite a bit of battling with, especially last season, obviously. Edging him out in the standings by a solid 30 points, though. That's got to feel good, obviously. One of your... I'd say rivals over the course of the season, Noah 48.
Yeah, it was a shame to see Noah out for so long throughout the season.
Yeah, indeed. Obviously,
he was out for a while.
Yeah, obviously the technical difficulties did plague his season a little bit. But do you think you would have beaten him regardless of those issues? You did have a very strong season there.
There was a very strong possibility I would have still beat him. But I would never count Noah out in any situation.
Yeah, obviously he's one of the drivers quickly on the rise, including yourself and a couple of others. But let's just discuss your last season a little bit. Obviously, 2 podiums on the... not on the bounce, I was about to say, but 2 podiums over the course of the season. Very strong performances in Australia as well. Had the pace to almost win that race, but obviously it is one thing to have the pace to. It's another thing to have the pace and ability to overtake. But the pace was very strong in that race. So obviously starting to establish yourself at the higher level, not quite the top level of the grid yet, but definitely the higher levels on podium contention for, I'd say, quite a fair few races last season, having one snatched from you there as well. So just how different is the racing, obviously now coming up at the front, and like, what was your perspective on last season as a whole?
Last season as a whole was it was a bit too much for what I expected. Just given when I first joined the league in season 7, throughout the second half of the season, I was teammates with Onruchek in the Mercedes.
I can imagine easier jobs than that, yeah.
It was I was around mid-table for them first 2 seasons, and then after that season 9 came along, and I was just suddenly at the front. So it was very unexpected for me to be there.
Yeah, indeed. Something just happened in that season 9, and just a massive performance gain. And obviously, that's got to be quite overwhelming from finding yourself a little bit towards the back or lower midfield to all of a sudden actually be fighting the front guys regularly. It's got to feel quite good, though, doesn't it? It's kind of almost a middle finger to everyone who maybe just saw you as one of the guys to get by in the previous races. You're now the one trying to force yourself by them.
Yeah, I remember in season 9 in my Ferrari days when I got promoted to that seat. It was a very hard season for me. Obviously a few good hit races here and there, but I was battling out with like the likes of Wigan for almost the whole season. Season 9 comes on, and I barely see Wigan on track.
Yeah, obviously Wigan, one of the good driver. It just brings it into perspective as well how rapidly things can change, even on the same game. As we see Squidge go fastest there with 1:31.3 for 0, decent time around the Silverstone reverse layout as well, which we're gonna get into your opinions on this circuit as well, and my opinions on the reverse circuit as a whole. We'll touch on it. But it just comes to show how quickly things can turn over the course of a game cycle as well, and over the course of just a season swap. Do you think that's confidence related, or what kind of makes that transformation happen on the same game as well? It's got to be tricky to just get that massive performance upswing.
Well, if you remember, at the start of season 9, I was still performing pretty poorly. Before Miami, I was just getting a point there and there, and it would just look like the same from last season that it would be. Miami came around. It was the qualifying to start with, that was out of the blue. I just had some amazing pace, and that was Miami was a huge confidence boost for me, and it set us up for the rest of the season.
Yeah, indeed, kind of a McLaren Lando Norris moment for you, turning the season around in Miami as well, which was a mighty drive to see as Recon goes fastest there with a 1:30.949. That's an encouraging lap, actually, beating out the likes of Squidge and No on the same set of tyres as well. Beatty out there as well, and he's been looking strong. Mac is now in the medium, so that's a bit of a difference in tyre offset there. But it's been encouraging signs from you late last season on, and obviously now heading into this new season as well. How do you feel you've been able to transform your pace on the last game to this one? How much of the pace do you think you've kept, and has it gone slightly backwards or slightly forwards? What do you feel heading on to the new F1 25?
I'm feeling very good about this game, but my pace has dropped slightly with it just being a new game, but I'm sure I can work on that.
Yeah, exactly. What are the kind of ups and downs do you feel like? Where do you think you've lost that pace? In acceleration, braking? Obviously, the braking on this game is significantly different, isn't there?
I don't really know where I'm losing my time or anything right now, but my race pace is pretty good. We've been doing them 5-lappers, and I've been doing my own career modes and stuff like that. My race pace is looking strong. It's just tyre wear, and the difference in handling is something to get used to.
Yeah, the tyre wear, obviously one of those things that makes a marquee difference on this game as well. Just obviously needing to be smooth on the tyres. If you chuck it into a corner this game cycle, it's gonna punish you in the long term overstint. You can maybe get away with it for a lap or two, but if you do it regularly, your tyres will just disappear. So how much of a factor do you think that type of racing will come into play this season? Just a bit more strategic, maybe hang back and wait for the tyres and the race to come to you a bit more. And how do you think that'll suit you as well?
I've noticed that the tyre wear is almost doubled for what it was last season, and I think strategy would be a huge factor in this season.
Is that something, as a driver, is that something you're excited for or kind of nervous about? Because obviously, if strategy is not a thing, you're just relying on outright pace, and you've got a bit of quite a lot of it. So, like, when the strategy comes into play, as a driver, do you enjoy that, or is it just one of those things that I'd rather do without and just rely on my pace?
I've always known right from when I started playing the F1 games in 2018 that my pace is very consistent. Even if it's like really worn tyres, you can ask a few drivers about that. And so I'm pretty confident that I'll be able to do well in any scenario this season.
Oh, well, here's hoping. So just going back to your last season as well, what were the highlights? Obviously, you mentioned 2 podiums over the course of the season, a very, very strong race in Australia. But what would be the absolute highlight of last season?
Obviously the standout ones will be the podiums.
Yeah, of course.
Miami and Singapore. Miami, that race came to me. I didn't really try for a podium, but Singapore I did. So I think Singapore is my highlight of the season, to be fair, because I worked hard for that.
Yeah, and it was sweet getting you that podium. Was it just a couple of races before that you had a podium snatched away from you by, was it Matty, I believe?
It was in the Mystery GP.
Yeah, I remember me being very upset about that on stream as well. I remember being going to bed relatively annoyed at the fact that that podium was snatched away.
It was gonna happen anyways, because I actually ran out of fuel on the last lap. Hence why I only finished about 10th behind Djokovic after his penalty was applied.
Oh yes, because it's
Um,
Qatar, isn't it? And there's a
yeah,
very fuel draining circuit, that obviously with how much you're actually on the throttle.
and if I didn't run out of fuel, I would have got third.
Oh, so say pace-wise, good enough for 3, maybe even 4 podiums over the course of the season if we're counting Australia, and it's quite a record. It's 4 out of, if we're saying 4, that's 4 out of 18 races. That's quite a decent percentage. Just how high up do you think you can finish the order this season? We've yet to see any real pace from the front guys potentially. Obviously, we know the championship contenders are likely just holding back a little bit. Tess has mentioned similar things in interviews. We've not seen Squidge yet on stream. We're just seeing him out now on a 130.5. But just how far do you think you can climb the ranking disorder? It should be an improved league by the look of things now. If you're looking at lap times, quite consistent throughout, especially that midfield.
Given the pace from what I've seen from 5 laps and stuff that I've been doing, I feel like I can slightly improve this season. But again, I wouldn't count anyone out, especially Noah. Noah is looking very quick on this game, quicker than I thought he would be. So he's obviously going to be a threat. And then the front guys, it's going to be a while until I'm with them, really.
Yes, obviously you're mentioning Noah there as well, and obviously there's a former NEF1 champion in his team as well called Underjack. Just how much of a threat is that Racing Bulls team, and do you reckon they're actually going into the season as favourites then, with the pace that Noah's actually putting on display now in practice as well?
I would definitely say RB could be or is the favourites to win this championship. Noah's looking quick, and I've raced with Underjack and Mercedes before a few seasons ago, and even if it's not just season 8 when I was teammates with them, Underjack is very, very quick.
Indeed, it's absolutely
relentless. I always have a hard time
isn't
defending against them.
Yeah, Underjack is one of those drivers that obviously the way he used to race you can't really do anymore on this game. The way he just used to sit behind you and absolutely drain you out before punching through and punching away. But he still got that kind of killer instinct, but never making anything look too flashy or too complicated. It's just relatively easy overtake somehow. I don't really understand how, but he makes it look very, very simple for himself, and that's kind of the quality that you want heading into a race, doesn't you?
Yeah.
So just obviously we've got to talk a little bit about this as well. Maybe a bit of a mistake in terms of the track we selected for this session, Silverstone Reverse. We've obviously done all 3 reverse circuits in the 5 lap sessions that we did at the launch of the game. You mentioned your distaste for Silverstone Reverse in particular earlier when you were talking to me. Just what is it about this track that you feel just doesn't work or doesn't suit you? Because it is a difficult circuit to drive. There's a lot of corners now that are just so flowing, so incredibly long as well.
Silverstone's always been up there for me as one of my favourite tracks. But in reverse, it's a whole different track. It's it will punish you on the exits of most corners, and what would be sector 1 the normal way around is very, very difficult as well, and I just generally don't like the track in reverse.
Yeah, it is a difficult one, as we're seeing a massive lockup from Test there, heading into one of the hardest braking zones, coming up to what would be the corner before the Wellington Straight. Is now the corner after the Wellington Straight. Double right-hander where you have to slam on the brakes while still turning. That's just got to be impossible, hasn't it?
Yeah, the corner that we're going into now with Tez, it's always a very hard braking zone.
Oh, as Tess notices, that goes straight off the circuit.
I'm actually going to pull up my POV of Tez because the stream's quite behind. But that through store, I think that corner is before the hanger straight. If you don't have the right setup and if you don't have the right line coming out of that corner, it is a very, very hard corner to hit. It will send you wide if you don't get it wrong.
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot more corners, like cops. There's a lot more corners on Silverstone Reverse that will punish you for slightest mistakes.
Yeah, it is one of those tracks that is now just more punishing as we're on board with Kit here through Baggots and, or Maggots and Beckett's. Beckett's and Maggots, I don't know what to, Beckett's and Maggots, let's just say that. And through the sweeping left-hander cops now, which that corner, to be fair, feels quite good. Going left-handed through cops, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's just,
there's
a flowiness to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just chucking it in there and knowing it will kind of grip up on the exit a little bit as well. It's quite fun. But yeah, in terms of racing on these tracks, do you think that's something that'll actually happen competitively in league racing, or are they just fun for, I don't know, maybe a bit of time trial, maybe a couple of knockabout races?
I hope not. I hope it's not in the league, because even if it's Austria reverse, Austria or Zandvoort is a death trap while racing.
Yeah, the braking zones in Austria are horrifying, aren't they?
But
yeah.
I don't think these tracks are built to race in reverse. Might be fun for 5 lap or anything, but for a serious race, I don't think it's capable.
It's interesting as well, isn't it? Because I don't know if you remember the COVID season, but there was genuine talks of people wanting to run Silverstone reverse, wasn't there? Now we're just seeing, if it's hard to overtake on the F1 games, it'll be absolutely impossible to overtake using the actual cars, and obviously the cars were even worse for racing back in the COVID days. So just how badly could that have gone, do you reckon? It would have been absolutely appalling.
Well, if anyone suggests to race in the reverse tracks in the league, and if anyone wants that, they are delusional.
Oh yeah, no, a couple of people have suggested we included them, obviously, and I don't know if it's been serious suggestions, but it was one of those things as well when obviously reverse tracks were introduced that we've got to have this on the calendar. But I think now obviously there's no reverse tracks confirmed on the calendar, and I think that's the right choice. But obviously there's a mystery Grand Prix coming up as well that I have full control over. So what would be the worst combination of reverse track and weather circumstances, do you reckon? If you were to just help me out with the mystery Grand Prix, what's the thing I absolutely should not do?
You should absolutely not do Monaco midnight with full wets.
Oh, that is.
It'll be a very fun race to watch, but it will be chaos.
To be fair, I was quite disappointed with the way the Qatar race turned out last season. With it, Tessa's having a difficult start to this session, if that is the case. Yeah, coming back on circuit, not having the best of times at it. But I was quite disappointed with that mystery Grand Prix race around Qatar. I thought it was going to be more carnage doing it in full wet, but everyone handled it beautifully, actually. Just how difficult was that race in retrospect?
Sorry, say that again?
How difficult was that mystery Grand Prix last season, going into it, not knowing what the circumstances were going to be, and obviously it being as bad as it was around the track that it was?
Well, I was thinking it would go really bad, but come quali, come the majority of the race, I was feeling really good. I was feeling quick. P3, P4 was on the table, and I was happy with that.
Yeah, it was a very well run race.
You know, might have ruined it.
Yeah, and it is one of those things that you're not the first one to do that around Qatar as well. I remember the initial race around Qatar, we had a similar situation where a lot of people actually ran out of fuel on the last couple of laps, so you've not been the only one to do it, thankfully.
I figured I would go a lower fuel than I usually do, because I know it was quite easy to fuel save on this scrim, but I totally underestimated how hard it would be, I think, around Qatar.
Yeah, there's not a lot of braking zones where you can do lifting and coasting or anything of the sort, is there?
Yeah, the setup I had on was very slow on the straights as well, so I couldn't really do any fuel saving.
Yeah, oh, that's a lap by Undercheck that at 129.608 on hard tyres that I think he's done a couple of laps on at this point. Let's just have a look at
5 laps on them.
Yeah, it's done 5 laps on them. That's still a very, very good time to do on a set of tyres that's been quite heavily scrubbed down than you would imagine. Tyre scaling set to 50% wear here as well. So they will be scrubbed down at that point, won't they?
Should I mention, Marcus is sitting P3 at the minute, only 2/10 off Undercheck. He's
he is looking. Yeah, he's looking very promising for this season, isn't he? If there's a couple of drivers you just watch out for this season, for what you've seen so far, if you was to name 3 outside of the regular win contenders, we're seeing Tess, Squidge, Matty as well involved in that conversation. Well, what 3 drivers would you really look out for at the start of the season, do you think?
Well, I should always mention my brother, Kit. I'm always looking for him to improve and be better. I have a strong feeling Kit can score some points this season. Hopefully, I hope he does. But I've always got huge respect for Kit on and off track.
Yeah, obviously racing on a pad makes it a lot more difficult, but this game he's found a couple of settings to just make it a bit more bearable, hasn't he?
Yeah, I actually gave him them settings.
And that is good stuff helping a competition out. Let's just hope that doesn't come back to bite you at some point during the season.
Hopefully not.
We'll wait and see. So Kit 1 to watch out for, 2 more if you got any on your tongue.
I'd definitely say Noah. Noah's looking very, very quick.
Yeah, P4 at the moment on 29.945, just lower than Mac is Matty and Undercheck. So it's prestigious companies up there with.
Yeah. I think it'll be very hard to. I know I'm going to be there with Noah, but I think it's going to be very hard to try and beat them this season.
Yeah, and just, how is it racing now? Obviously, he's one of the drivers I've never really raced in a competitive league racing circuit stars. I've not raced quite a lot of these lads, and obviously it was a while ago since I actually did a competitive NEF1 race. I think season 5 maybe around France was the last time I did it. But just how is it racing, Noah? How's he like in a wheel-to-wheel battle?
Well, I would always go back to Qatar last season, not the Mystery GP, the actual one, and just bring up that me and Noah battled for the entire race. And it was clean battling, it was good racing. There was an incident here and there, but that happens when you're racing that hard.
Yeah, and you're gonna bang wheels over the course of a race if you're in a battle like that. It's always bound to happen. And honestly, just keeping a battle sustained for that long without a collision is an achievement in itself. It's hard.
Yeah, that was just my fastest. That's 3/10 in the mediums.
Yeah, indeed. 29.285 on the mediums. What lap time's that set by his teammate on? That's still hard tires on for his teammate, but it's a very, very competitive lap time that from Noah. We'll see what it's like now that we're probably starting to transition over a little bit to more medium tire running. It's going to be a little while before we start seeing a lot of people come out on them. Recon switched over now. I believe so has Luna and Squidge, yeah. So a lot of people starting to show up on the medium tires.
I haven't really done much medium and hard running around most tracks, but the medium's quick, but the hard tires are not looking good on this game because the tire wear is a lot worse than this game. I don't think the hards will barely be used this season.
That's one of the things that was. Yeah, that was one of the
well.
things that was critiqued last season, wasn't there? That the hard was almost too good a race tires, too grippy, and it just maintained tire life. And we saw that with hard tires being utilised. Yeah, we saw that with hard tires almost being an OP tire on last game. How do you reckon the softs will hang up in an actual league race on this game then? There's a lot of dirt. I'm just noticing this as well. I'm just noticing this as well on stream. If you're looking, just look at the amount of dirt that's kicked up on the side of these cars if they go off-road. It's actually quite a nifty detail that they've increased on this game. Sorry, Sam, I interrupted you there. What was about to go down?
Softs are very, very quick, but again, the tire wear just will not let them be a good race tire.
Yeah, I reckon there's going to be a lot of two-stoppers, maybe soft, medium, or something like that from that then to try to balance it out.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of two-stops this season. Maybe even 3 stops at the mandatory 2-stop race. We might even see 3 stops on there.
Yeah, I'm massively looking forward to that if that is the case. Squidge right now, just to go to some standard commentaries, doing a massive job as well in his first session back on this game. So 129.509, which takes him right up the order, quite close to Noah, but still about 2 tenths off. Recon has done the work on those tires as well. He's only about 2 tenths off as Noah improves even further, and that's a lap and a half that from Noah up to 28.860. But by the look of things, it's been quite a heavy push lap from the Racing Bulls driver. But that's just a bit scary pace-wise for no S in it. A 128.8 this early on.
It is.
It's going to be an interesting battle then. Both Racing Bulls sitting in 1st and 4th at the moment. Matty, your teammate, sitting in 5th, doing the job for Alpine right now. Obviously yourself without a time. Are we going to see you out too much this session after your little session in the commentary booth has ended? Or how strongly is your distaste for this circuit?
You'll probably see me out there for maybe a race sim, maybe a quali or two. That's probably about it.
We'll make sure to keep our eyes on you. Until then, Samo Bamo, thank you very much for joining me here in the commentary booth for the 3rd session in total of pre-season testing. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you.
It's been lovely to be here also.
Yeah, you're welcome back anytime, mate. Hopefully we'll speak to you over the course of what we hope to be a very, very successful season for both you, your teammate, and Alpine in total.
Thank you.
All right, good luck there out on track, and we will come back to you a bit later on, I'm sure. Thank you very much for joining once again.
Bye now.
All right then, everyone, that was Samo Bamo there with a bit of input for the first half an hour of pre-season testing day 2. And it's sounding relatively confident. A lot of praises being sang to Noah 48, former rival, obviously. Could be rival into this season as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see what perspective is put after the first race in Bahrain, or after the first quali session in Bahrain. Dominic's in chat telling me to slant the squidge a little bit. I might wait for it. We'll wait and see. But no slanders coming up this early on, especially when he's sitting in P3 in the order. This being his first NEF1 session this season. We're coming up quite rapidly to the start of Season 10 officially now. Is this Monday with the Bahrain Grand Prix, so don't miss out on that one. It's going to be a very, very entertaining race, I'm sure. I'm going to get a preview of that in about 40 minutes time, you reckon. So that's going to be an interesting one, as Rain is about to come across the... she's not about to come across the line, sorry. Halfway through the lap and heading into the middle of Sector 2. And this is what happens when you do a reverse track. You have absolutely no clue of where someone is on track because you not use the visuals. Coming onto the Wellington Straight then, from the entire wrong way. And that is a big improvement in terms of lap time from Reina. A second down in the 2nd sector. Now only a couple of corners to go, and this could be a lap that sees a skyrocket up the order, maybe up close to where Noah is. So this will be one to watch out for. Medium tyres on that kick Sauber. Let's see where it ends up. P3 in the order, just behind Recon, who in himself is having a very, very good session on this game so far. Onruchek, one of the favourites for the championship right now, doing a long run on that hard tire, so he's getting along nicely, along with Matty, who is starting to slow on those hard tires, but just pushing on, looking for that competitive edge. As Luna getting along on her mediums as well, just doing a race in by the look of things, who's not going too well in terms of lap time. 1:31.21, has a lot of ground to make up on her teammate, but as said, we can't take anything away from testing really up until those 18 minutes of qualifying's done in Bahrain a couple of days time. Then we'll know what the actual running order for this season will be. Tess currently sitting in P10, reigning NEF1 champion then, with champion aspiring SFLY Jamar Jr. behind him. Ferrari here with a very, very real shot at the Constructors' Championship once again. ABT lone running for McLaren this session so far. Kit lone running for Red Bull. His first outing for the Red Bull outfit. First as an established top team in NEF1. How they do this season? Predicting a bit of a downgrade in terms of points, but Kit hopefully will have a massive upswing in pace with this new game. The changes being applied to his controller and everything of the sort. Samo still not out on circuit yet with 30 minutes to go, so there's a lot of running still remaining. We're not a million miles away to getting yet another guest on to commentary for the end of this season, or for the end of this session, sorry. The end of the season is going to be a long, long time away. So when the second guest is about to come on, hopefully if everything goes well. So I'm just gonna give him an invite to the party and I'll be right back with you. As everything kicking off on circuit, then ABG remaining in 12th place, but he's popped up with a lot of late laps over the course of the sessions so far. Came up P5 in the first session, I believe, which took place around Abu Dhabi. That lap was right on the death of the session. It was a very good lap indeed. Noah sitting in P1. Tess has popped in with a lovely P2 there without us watching. I'm sure he's quite glad about. Jamar's popped up with a P3. Recon in P4 with Emreina in 5th. Squidge in 6th, followed by Undercheck in 7th. Matty in 8th currently as we're having further movement. Emreina improving further. Makis had a good start to the session now, sitting in 9th. Luna in 10th. Wilco in 11th. Beat in 12th. Kit in 13th. Sam Obama, only driver yet to have set a time, as we welcome to the commentary box last season's championship runner-up, multiple-time race winner and NEF1 admin, Squidge 2017. Welcome to the commentary box as well, if I'm not mistaken, for the first time.
Hello. Fortunately, not the first time, but
not the first time. It's been a while.
No.
It's been a while since we did.
It's been a very long while.
Yeah, it's been a long while since we did these sort of interviews in the past. They just fell away for whatever reason. I don't really know why, but they just fell away. Was it heading on to F124 perhaps that they just disappeared? But now thankfully they are back, and it's a pleasure having you on. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad, mate. I'm not too bad.
Brilliant. I take it then you have found the checkbox to include your audio as well. If not, then this would be slightly awkward.
Yes, hopefully somebody can confirm that.
I'm sure we will get a confirmation in just a moment. We have our ever loyalist viewers who usually are quite rapid on those things. So how's it feeling? 30 minutes into this session, I would assume then you might be sticking around till the end of the session. How is the car feeling around this Silverstone reverse circuit?
It's tricky. It is a very tricky circuit. It's not easy to get your head around at all. Because you're going around it in the complete opposite way, which just completely confused me when I first ever did this track. But I'm getting used to it now, so hopefully we can find a bit more pace if this does eventually come up. Maybe in a season's time or whatever, or maybe even the Mystery Grand Prix.
Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, that Mystery Grand Prix should be a looming threat this season with these types of circuits available for choosing. Sadly, no Portugal in pouring rain, though. That would have been quite fun, wouldn't it?
Well, I don't like the Portugal bit, but maybe not in the pouring rain.
We'll have to reconsider that bit then, potentially. But then, looking at the standings right now, your teammate sitting up there in 4th place. How happy are you seeing those types of lap times put in by Jay Marvez? It's looking good so far.
It's nice to see. It is nice to see, and if he can continue this form, I feel like there is a decent shot that I could go back to back to at least with the constructors.
That would be quite something. Obviously, spoke to Sam Obama a bit earlier on, who's now for the first time this session made his way out on track. He mentioned Racing Bulls as maybe the biggest threat for the championship, and we're quite seeing that. There should be a lot of time left in Undercheck's laps, and Noah sitting there quick start of anyone by 4 tenths at the moment. Just how much of a threat is that Racing Bulls team going to be?
That team, you have done a very good job with pairing them. I can't lie. It is a massive threat because you've got Matty, who has always been quick and consistent, and hindsight now, I wish I probably didn't give him those tips, but that's something I need to look at later. But I think they are going to be a massive threat. I'm not going to count out RB as well, because that is also a very strong team.
Indeed, there's a lot of strong teams on this calendar. I feel like we've not seen the best of Aston Martin yet either, and I think Makis definitely has a lot of time left in him as well, as Matt actually just decides to prove you a bit that you shouldn't have given him any advice by going fastest. But just in terms of one driver, then, who do you think is the biggest biggest threat heading into this season? Because you would assume then you're going for one better than this season, which was second in the championship.
I'd like to go one better, but I think now with how you've laid out the teams, it's going to be a lot harder to do. Pretty much, Matty is going to be a big threat, I think, this season. I think Tez has been trying to downplay it as well, saying that this isn't his season, but I think he might be just downplaying that a bit.
It's a tricky one with Tess as well, because obviously it's a new game, which it doesn't, from what we've seen, suit his driving style as much. He liked those extremely quick downshifts, and that was noticeable on last year's game. That's a lot of where his pace came from. That's obviously gone now. You can't quite do it in the same way. You have to time it in a different way, and that could take some serious getting used to. And we've seen drivers fall away slightly over the course of a new game. But how big of a threat then do you think Tess will be? Will he be slightly off, or do you think he's straight on it at the beginning of Bahrain?
I think he'll be straight on it. I don't think anything else from him. He's a quick, consistent driver. He has made a couple of mistakes, but it's very easy to do around certain tracks. So I'm not gonna say that it's his fault, but there is a good chance that it will be right up there at the start.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see as well. I've got obviously I'm quite used to giving the fellow admin members a bit of slander on stream as well. I would take it you're quite happy not having any Belgium Grand Prix on the calendar this year, then.
I'm gonna make that with no comment.
All
we don't
right.
need to talk about last season.
All right then. Then if you want to have yourself a right bit of entertainment, go on to the official NEF1 YouTube channel and go look up the Season 9 Belgian Grand Prix at the final lap if you want to get that reference. If you already know what happened, you'll be enjoying that one. But Squidge, obviously one of the admins, one of the 4 admins, 3 racing admins in NEF1 now over the course of the last 2 seasons as well, so it's been a while now. Just how are you going to use that role as well, combining that with the racing? Do you feel that it actually has an effect on it, or is it just push on as normal?
I don't really think it has an effect. Obviously as admins we see a lot of things that the drivers don't see, but I don't really feel like that affects me in any way. So I feel like I just push on and go for it.
Yeah, it's the right attitude to have, as Macus has displayed a bit of pace. They've gone fast on us, soft tyres, mind you, so 128.697. So it'll be interesting to see if that's a flat-out quali run, or if it's a bit more of a racing lap on the soft tyres. But yeah, obviously done a good job so far handling the social media and establishing our social media presence a bit more, which hopefully we're going to be able to expand on this season. I'm hoping kind of fell away a little bit through a tricky Season 9 in F124, which it was never the most engaging game, was it, F124? Never got people too involved.
No, it was a bit of a shame, because right from the set-go, the handling model and everything else was just not correct. Obviously they fixed it and it got better, but then by then the damage is done, like people leave, and it's a bit of a shame. Whereas this game, it's pretty much go, go, go.
Yeah, it's a push game, this, isn't it? There's ample opportunity to just get more pace out of the car, it feels like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's quite funny. I was on doing a couple of time trial stuff earlier, or last night. I thought, oh, I'll be okay, and then I'll come back on and I'm like 4 places further down the leaderboard. So it's like, okay, whatever. We'll have to go back on there and try and push up and make a bit more time, which I'm sure I can do.
Yeah, definitely. It is one of the games, and obviously you drivers in the league, you love comparing TT times, and it's a bit of a bragging situation right now going on as well, isn't there? Just before the start of the season, when time trial really matters. As we have someone who's joined the session, that's unfortunate. If you're somehow hearing this, then please don't actually join in the racing. We need to find a way to uncover that. It's set to friends only. Might have to change that to invite only for the next session, then. That's going to turn into a problem. But yeah, I've got to mention as well, obviously, you now being an admin, we've not had an admin champion since season 2. Do you think you can bring the championship back into the hands of the admin team for this season, man? It's been a while.
I would certainly think I'd like to. There is a lot of tracks that are strong for me. Annoyingly, my strongest track, or one of my strongest tracks, I am missing, which is a real shame. But I feel like I can give this season a good go at it.
So in terms of calendar, then, what do you think is missing off the circuit, off the calendar? Then I would imagine it'll be a stronger circuit that comes up as a fair suggestion.
Um, well, I would say Belgium because I'm always quite strong around there. But over the last two seasons, being pipped on the line for first place last season, and then being pipped on the line for third by 3/1000 of a second, I think it was, by Ted as well, same driver, which was really helpful. When he
Turning
did
into a
that
bit
to
of a
me.
boogeyman.
I know, it's a bit annoying, but I think we've done overall as the admin team a real good job with the calendar this season. There was so much variety, and switching from tracks to tracks, you can go from one really technical track to just full flat out high speed. So I feel like there is a lot good about this calendar. I wouldn't really change much.
Yeah,
If anything.
there's a lot of variety in this calendar, and obviously one of the circuits I'm most looking forward to this season as well, judging by how well it went the first time, is Monaco. Bit of a less successful race second time out, but how are you feeling for Monaco, especially, which is it just provides something very different, doesn't it?
It provides something a lot different. I just don't really take that, and I just try and do the same practice I would for Monaco that I do for every other track. So it's the plan for Monaco. I don't really feel like I need to do any more practice. I get used to the walls being so close, so it's not really a big problem for me.
Yeah, how much focus around Monaco do you think is going to be put on flat out pace, with qualifying being obviously the way it's going to be?
I feel like there'll be a lot of focus on all the drivers just on the quality pace. I reckon the qualifying pace around there could be a lot tighter than we could see around other tracks.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one for sure. So unfortunately now we have an AMX focus in the session, which is not ideal. We'll be getting rid of him for next session. It's the first time we've ever had an invasion like this. I don't think I can kick him off the race director as well, can I?
I don't believe so.
The only thing I can do is block his EA account, which is unfortunate. So I don't know if anyone... That's a PlayStation symbol, isn't it? I don't know if anyone on PlayStation can actually hop in and just give him a message asking him to leave as well. I don't know what the situation or how that quite works on the platform. But if nothing else, we'll have him gone for next session. The Squidge, obviously, Tess giving you a bit of slander in chat there as well, saying you're in his pocket. Just how offensive do you find that statement?
I just ignore it. Just ignore it. It takes a lot to get to me, and that's just like a fly landing on my shoulder. Like, I don't know what he's trying to achieve. He's trying to wind me up, but we'll see when it comes to the first race.
Indeed, we will wait and see. So hopefully a bit of a storyline building up here before the season's even gotten started. Squidge versus Tess round 2. Who else, if you was to count in 5 drivers, if we're being optimistic, going for that championship this year, who would you count in? I would assume then yourself and Tess, by the way you've already spoken.
Well, I'd like to say myself instead. I'd say Matty. He's looking strong. Looking at what he's been doing on time trial around loads of tracks, he's looking very strong this season. I'd say Onshek as well, obviously my teammate last year. He was so strong. I mean, he was with me fighting for the podiums pretty much every single race. And then I'd say you can't count out Djokovic. Even though he's had a dip in form last season, which really shocked me, I wouldn't be surprised if he's fighting for the championship as well.
Yeah, Djokovic obviously not present today, neither is his teammate Wigan. That was one of the most surprising storylines of the season, Djokovic not getting a win last year out at all. And obviously coming as a further surprise, seeing how he was the reigning defending champion coming into the season as well. On the same game, mind you, it's quite surprising having that transition on one single game. Could that just have been the car, do you reckon? Was that Alpine just tricky to drive and Tess got it really right in his first season?
I don't know whether it was the car, but one thing I do know is just the pace increase compared to the first season. Obviously, we had the big patch where everything got changed with the handling model. But I feel like it was maybe slightly better the car if you didn't really enjoy it. But I feel like there was a lack in pace improvement compared to the rest of us. I mean, one thing that jumped into my mind was my pole time in the first season of F1 24 compared to the second season round Belgium. I think it's like 8 or 9 tenths, which is a massive improvement.
Yeah, it is, and that's always going to be hard to make the jump up to as well, especially when you've already been rather quick in the first season. It's going to be hard to follow through like that, isn't it? So I've just been told to hand out another invite, so I've just got to do that real quick. It's the fact that I've not been seeing it because I haven't been paying attention. It's a bit sloppy for me, that, but now that situation should hopefully be sorted. But just in terms of obviously next session, that's gonna be crucial. We're heading to Bahrain for the first time this season. We're going there for the first round. How much are the gloves gonna be off for the Bahrain practice session, or are we gonna see a quite heavy amount of sandbagging there as we're racing there in just a couple of days now? It's 4 days until we go lights out in Bahrain for the first race.
I think you'll see a lot of drivers potentially. You could see a couple of drivers sandbagging, but then I feel like you could see a lot of drivers being serious as well. I'm not 100% sure what the plan is for me yet. I'll have to figure that out, but we'll see.
Indeed, it's you've got about 12.5 minutes until we wrap this session up and get the Bahrain session underway. It's a revised Bahrain circuit as well, as Noah sets a scary lap time, that at 127.828. It's a brand new revised Bahrain circuit, which saw Tess last season take the win after chasing Djokovic down under a bit strange circumstances. Obviously, a lot of you starting from the back. But how do you feel like the new circuit is going to affect racing as well? There's a lot more grip on that than has been in the past.
There is a lot more grip, but there is a lot more dirty air. So whether the dirty air will have a massive effect around that track, we'll have to wait and see, because going through the S's, especially going towards Sector 2, you need a lot of grip to go through there. And if you lose that grip, you could potentially lose out of DRS, and that could be the end of your race for potentially winning it. So overall, I feel like the improvements to the track have been good. You can be a lot more aggressive with the curbs, but I'm just not 100% sure with the dirty air how we're going to be able to manage the situation.
It's a very different circuit. It's a very different game as well. With the way this game is going to race potentially, obviously we don't know yet because none of us have been in competitive league race, I think. But obviously we saw a massive amount of DRS trains last season, and kind of managing those DRS trains and knowing when to attack, when to fall back. That was kind of the peak of it. You sat behind until it was time to really go for it, and then you made the move. Do you think those DRS trains will kind of disappear on this game with that air being a lot more pronounced, or do you think you'll still be able to just hang with and start making moves on the last 2 or even the last lap of the race?
I reckon around some tracks, staying in a train will be more difficult. Maybe tracks like something like Saudi, because it's really high downforce, you need a lot of grip. Whereas I did a 5-lapper a while ago with a couple of lads in the league. We put on setups around Imola, and we were quite easily sticking within 5 tenths of each other all the way around. So I think it's going to vary from track to track. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those interesting ones. I'm going to ask you a bit of a tough question then. Do you believe in the commentator's jinx?
No. I know another admin does, but I do not.
Yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about as well. But what then is the first race that will see a Squidge 2017 Ferrari on top of the podium?
I would like to say Bahrain, but I don't think it would be Bahrain. I think it would be somewhere like. I would like to do it at Saudi just to kind of rub it in Matty's face a bit.
Not out to
But
make friends right now, are you? A bit of beef with Tess already, and now having to go at Matty there as well, which, I mean, I love it.
you've got it's rivalry at the end of the day. Like,
Indeed, it
yes,
becomes quite intense as well when you're battling at the front.
yes, I can remember last season round Singapore when me and Tez made quite heavy contact, and we did have a decent shot about it for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, it is one of those things that's just poised to happen as well, isn't it? That you end up having the discussions and they escalate a little bit every now and again. But I don't think it ever turns uncivil, does it?
No, it never turns uncivil. Like, sometimes you might like do something like not hit somebody off, but just hit someone slightly. They might get really annoyed in the moment, but then afterwards they're just completely fine about it. I know I am for certain. I get sometimes very annoyed when somebody hits me somewhere, and then it's like after the race, it's like, okay, whatever.
Another
Move
bit
on.
of a provocative question then. How tough is it sitting in the admin meeting with us discussing one of your incidents not going your way? How tough is it just staying quiet at that point?
It's not nice, let's put it that way. You sat there screaming like in your head, or certainly I am, screaming in my head thinking, how have I got that penalty when somebody else got that penalty? But that's not for me to judge, that's on you guys, so I can't say anything in that. It's all up to you.
Nah, it is one of those situations that obviously as and I know myself, we didn't have league or that rule in league back when I still used to race. I think I've only got one penalty, and I was fully responsible for that one. It was China, I believe I took out IFC Eli heading into turn 2 at China on the opening lap. There was no discussion to be had, as per se. But there's been a couple of lengthy discussions. I don't think you've ever been a part of one of the discussions that's really escalated. But I'm sure we'll have one over the course of the season, at least, that the spirals a bit out of control and turns into the hour-long discussions. Says, oh, that's a massive going off there for Recon 21, who's able to take the grass and keep it sticky with 6 minutes to go. So with, say about 5 minutes ago in this session, what do you think is going to go down now? Is everyone going on a flat-out quali run, or are we just about to see people go a bit conservative as well? Noah's just heading into the pit lane now, and Tess is just retired. So what would you do at the last 5 minutes of a session like this? Because this is the last 5 minutes of non-representative running as well, because as soon as we hit the lights in Bahrain, a lot of more things will start to be unveiled.
For a track like this, like, obviously it's not on the calendar officially, it could be with the Mystery Grand Prix. You can just go for it, because I don't feel like the pace would matter around here. Like, it wouldn't show as strong compared to other tracks, potentially, because of, like, I know the top guys will practice that track, and you can see the gap difference between that. So I reckon you might see a couple of people who you don't usually see, maybe a bit lower, and then maybe a couple of people the opposite way as well.
Yeah, are there any underdogs this season that you feel are coming up to maybe start joining you guys at the front now, or does the front, let's say front 5, feel as established as they were last season?
I feel like front 5 will be this. Actually, thinking about it, I feel the top 3 from last season with also Onstrom, so the top 4 of last season if you take Onchek's points as well
Yes.
from the amount of races he did. Um, I feel like that top four will be pretty stable. But then going down where Djokovic is, compared to his last season, I feel like then we could have potentially have maybe like Zamo, because I know he's getting a lot quicker now. Noah's getting a lot quicker. Jamar as well, my teammate, I reckon he could be a bit of a dark horse as well. So them three, if they come up with us and you've got Matty and Zamo P1 and B2, I know that's going to be a bit of deja vu with me and Spen almost, have a feeling.
Yeah, there's a bit of a different feeling. But please correct me if I'm wrong. Heading into this season, that something's about to happen in season 10 that we've not seen before, and that is it's a lot more open. We're gonna have more drivers at the front than ever. It's gonna be hopefully changing race to race as well, the dynamics of the league, because obviously we've seen over the last couple of seasons big periods of dominance. I'm thinking especially I'm sorry, Undercheck, but the hellish end of season, I believe it was season 7, there was Ondrechek's just pure reign of domination, winning every race from when he came into the league to when he clinched the championship halfway through. It was absolutely mental. I feel like that type of a dominance is going to go away this game.
Yes, certainly. I will agree with you on that. I mean, one race you could be looking at me finishing P1, the next race you could be seeing me finishing P7, P8. I reckon the variety from track to track with different people as well, because obviously people will prefer different tracks. It could be a massive game changer and make the championship a lot tighter. I mean, it would be very interesting if we got to the last few races with 5 drivers or 6 drivers in it. It would be certainly a good viewership for you, but a bit stressful for us.
Indeed, the trickiest thing about that is then doing the maths to figure out who's champion at the end of it. But that is a situation I'll happily be in if we can have it go down to the absolute wire in Abu Dhabi, as we have had twice before enough, if I'm not mistaken, that have been absolutely brilliant championship finales. Just on board with Recon at the moment. He's just gone through Maggots and Beckett and heading into Cop's corner in reverse. It feels quite good, that corner, doesn't it? Cop's taken flat out as a left-hander instead of a right-hander. As Hybrids just joined the session, that's lovely to see. Second Red Bull driver.
It actually feels a little bit easier for some reason. I don't know whether that's because it's uphill. It makes it feel a lot easier to take flat out, even on hard or medium.
There's a bit more natural deceleration into a corner like that when it's uphill, isn't there? Obviously, you're never braking into the corner, you're never going off the throttle, but there's still some deceleration. I obviously changed down to 7th gear to get the drive coming through the corner as well. I would imagine that a couple of other people do the same. And there's just more a bit more stability to it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. There is a lot more stability when you go in that way compared to when you go in the other way. I know with last season and with Silverstone, the inside curb was just so sometimes unreliable. Sometimes you'd hit it, you'd be fine, and the next time you'd be hitting it and you'd be going sideways 170 mile an hour. So it's like, it feels a lot. I've done this track in the normal way as well, and it feels a lot more stable.
Yeah, here's hoping it's going to be a bit more of a regular race this time around. Just looking at the laps everyone has done, 23 laps for Luna around here, 22 for Matty Adams. It's been quite high mileage runs for quite a couple of these guys. Is that just getting used to the car, or have everyone kind of dialed that in yet?
I feel like most people who have raced on day one will have, tested on day one, would have had their cars pretty much dialed in by now. So I feel like they're just trying to get the laps out, getting the practice in, getting used to the new game as well.
Yeah, indeed, it's going to be a good one. I'm going to ask you one more question, and feel free to answer this as much as you want. But what do you think the setup line is going to be on this game? Are you going to want the high downforce setups, or are you going to want the low downforce setups to be able to overtake on circuit? It's been a bit of a mixed bag from what I've seen between everyone right now.
it's awkward because if you have a high downforce setup, you're going to be on right on the back of them in the corners. But when you come to the straight, you're going to have to be burning a lot of ERS to be overtaking them. I feel like a good middle ground where you can have that um, straight line speed, still a decent amount of straight line speed and downforce, that would help you win races. So if it sacrifices your quality pace a little bit, that's never usually a bad thing around most tracks.
Yeah, obviously the one place we desperately need track position in the league race is going to be Monaco, and even then overtaking has been possible in the past in league races around that. That's a good lap from Undercheck, 127.491. We're seeing Matty just approach the end of the lap now, so we're going to go on board with him. But then we are heading into the end of the session. I want to say a big thank you to yourself for coming onto the commentary box and just providing me with a very good little bit of insight heading into the season, how the game feels and how everything is going along, as Matty says the fastest lap. So thank you very much, Squeeze 2017, for joining me.
Thank you, mate. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. I'm sure we'll speak to you a couple of times throughout the season, if not more. And have the best of luck now that we're heading into the final practice session in preparation for Season 10, Bahrain.
Thank you. I will certainly enjoy it, mate.
Indeed. We will see you in a little bit of time then. That has been Squidge 2017 with a good bit of insight there as the end of session has come. We're seeing Matty in P1, followed by Undercheck, Noah, ABT, and Mr. Wilco in the Haas up in P5. He's having a good bit of practice around here. Mr. Wilco looks a lot improved. 6 temps off provisional P1 with Sam on 6th and Reina having a strong showing as the rookie in 7th, Luna in 8th, Jamar and 9th, Recon in 10th. A bit of a difficult session for Kit here early on. We'll see how the pace improves over the course of this next practice session that we are going to get started in a little bit of time. So we are going to a bit of a waiting screen for the time being, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back in hopefully about 10 minutes time for coverage of the full session. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back relatively shortly. All right then, everyone, and welcome back to the second session today, 4th overall and last overall of this preseason testing in NEF1 round Bahrain in changeable day to night transition conditions. Hopefully we'll get that beautiful sunset going. It's a lot of co-commentary today because with me in the commentary box is Noah48. Welcome to the stream, buddy. Of course, it's always a pleasure to have someone alongside me. It's been a good couple of days of testing for you. Obviously, you're going to be joining the testing a bit later on in Bahrain here today. But how representative and how crucial do you think getting this session right is going to be for the race that is coming up on Monday? So it's not a long time to go now. You cannot be heard according to people, so please make sure that box is ticked. That's a bit odd. That is a bit odd. Please let me know if he could just be heard. If not, then please let me know that as well. So we might have...
My box is ticked.
That is very, very interesting, that.
I can hear myself on stream, so they're just messing around.
Okay, you can hear yourself on stream, then that's a good thing that we're after the races.
Exactly.
Okay, so previous question still applies then.
Yeah. So as I was saying about this session, I don't know how it's going to plan out. I think there will be some sandbagging for sure.
Absolutely, obviously, it's the last day, or it's the last thing we're doing before actually getting going.
I think this is just going to be a session where they try and adjust their long runs with tyre wear, because this game, as Squidge and Samo have been mentioning, it's pretty tricky compared to F1 24 to keep tyres in a long run, especially around Bahrain.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those games. Obviously, Bahrain always heavy on the rear tires. That's gonna be even more. Prolific on this game, I'm sure. How crucial do you think getting especially tire wear right on this game is gonna be? Obviously, the tires just absolutely drop off. I've noticed that when playing a bit of career mode as well. How crucial do you think that strategy, the setup changes? How crucial is the strategic element of the racing gonna be this season?
I think it's going to be massive this season. I think Bahrain that was the last race of last season. The entire grid was split at the start. Some ran the hards. I think Tez actually was the only one. There were a few medium runners and soft runners, and it's just very tricky of a circuit to keep the tyres in great shape, because there's hard to sharp, slow corners like turn 10, and then there's quick like right-handers up the hill. So yeah, I think it'll be tricky, and you'll probably be surprised of what strategies come out as we race on Monday.
Yeah, it's a high variety circuit. This well different from I'd even say anything on the calendar really. A lot of straights, but still so many corners where you need that high downforce setup. So do you go balanced, or do you go somewhere leaning slightly more towards high or low?
I'd probably go to... It's pretty tough because this game's completely different to the last game. I haven't really had a feel around Bahrain a lot. It's not really one of my strong circuits, but I'd probably go towards high.
Yeah, could very well be the case. Obviously, it depends on what everyone else is running as well. If everyone's running a high downforce setup, then it'll be absolutely fine because you'll still be able to overtake. If you've got a couple of people, about half the grid, still being able to be quick with low downforce setup, then that kind of sets the norm, doesn't it? So the feeling I have on this game, and please correct me if it's a horrible take, is if you can get fast on a low downforce setup, then that's going to force everyone to adjust to what you are doing.
Well, yes, I agree. But some people, as myself and Matty have been discussing, have different preferences to how we race. Like steering wise, I put a bit more rate in my steering compared to him, as he likes. So it's kind of not just about setups, it's kind of about how you like adjust your position of the car for each corner, how you exit out. So like I like a bit more front, and Matt likes a bit more rear. So it's kind of different setup wise. So I don't know
Yeah,
how
but
everyone else
it varies
is.
quite heavily on this game as well, though.
Yeah.
Those kind of setup changes, doesn't it? As Macus, I believe, has selected the wrong car there, so take note of that. Macus should not be in the McLaren for the start of the season. He'll be
Nice.
driving inside the Aston Martin. Just one of those little things that could have been stressful in the end there. As Mr. Wilco, that's a handy lap on a set of medium tyres 32 flat, and that's a driver who is rapidly improving by the look of things. Going through this practice session, at least, there's still a couple of races to do this season to see where everyone really is. But just obviously yourself feel quite heavily improved on this game after watching you for the first three practice sessions. Just what's your mindset going into the season? What are your expectations and goals for the say for the first 3 races to get the season started?
Well, I'm not really setting myself high expectations for Bahrain. It's one of my least favourite tracks. And then the next 2 races, I think I want to try and get to grips with it. 'Cause obviously, we don't know what this league's going to be capable of come race day because we've got a lot of newcomers and obviously returning Maccas. Holman is one that I'm quite sceptical of how he's going to perform after seeing his pace in practice. I think he's got a lot to prove pace-wise as I've seen in practice, but I don't know because he may have been sandbagging. But I think I'm just going to see how Bahrain goes and then go from there. I want to try and get win or maybe just stay with the front of the pack. But, I mean, points is crucial in this league, and as the season goes on, like in the constructors, it could be crucial.
Yeah, exactly. This is the first season as well that you placed in a bit of a seat with actual pressure on it. Ondercheck definitely, he's going to be going for the championship again. We've seen him win championships in the past. Twice, once a drivers, once a constructors champion, if I'm not mistaken. So there's going to be a level of expectation on... I'm going to draw a parallel between you and Jamar in this situation, and Samo as well, to perform and bring those solid points in for the constructor standings. Just, do you think that pressure will get to you at some point in the season, or are you going to be able to handle that quite accordingly?
I mean, it's weird saying that I'm on level with Jamar because obviously I started my first full season as his teammate, and back in season 7, I believe.
Yeah.
In the Haas, so it was quite, a weird feeling for me being that far off. But I mean, as I've progressed throughout the seasons, it's kind of gotten to the same level as Jamar. Zamo, on the other hand, is one that I did feel quite a bit of pressure towards the back of the last season, especially around Qatar, because we were battling like crazy and nearly took each other out at one point. But I think Zamo, Jamar, Iwatts, you can't take Iwatts out of the equation after the end of last season.
No, definitely. It was one of the drivers that was looking strongest towards the end of last season, and actually outscoring a lot of the other drivers in that same constructors battle, wasn't he? So Iwatts definitely one to watch out for.
Yeah, so I think that little pack there is one to be crucial for constructors come the end of the season, because obviously in all of our teams, if myself, Zamo, Jamar and Iwatts have got championship pedigree going into the season and with their mind set on the title. So I don't know how it's going to pan out, but I really hope to have good battles of them on track and hopefully some good points at the end of it.
Well, here's hoping. It's gonna be a bit of a different season. I discussed this with Squidge earlier on, that I think it's gonna be a bit of a different season this than anything we've ever really had so far. With it being, by the look of things, very, very close up the front, and obviously these cars still being able to battle very, very well in game. You can still follow around, by the sound of things, on most circuits. How do you think the style of racing is going to be, and is that going to affect the results we're seeing with the massive amount of last lap battles we've seen over the last 2 seasons on 24? Do you think that's going to carry over into 25, and could we see a couple of shock wins potentially as a result?
I wouldn't say we'd see it straight off the back. I think it would take about at least 4 or 5 races for everyone to get used to the handling of the car, the long runs of tyre wear in the race, different strategic elements that come to the car. But as the season progresses along, I think we'll start to see maybe a constant battle throughout every other race. Maybe, for like example, Squish and Tez, maybe Matty involved in more races. And yeah, I think you may see some other rivals that we haven't seen before pan out. So I think it'll be quite interesting. Obviously, my teammate as well. He'll be up there this season. It was good to have him back mid-season last year because he really moved himself up the ladder instantly, as was expected.
Absolutely, brought
Coming from a
the level
champion.
up that extra bit, didn't it?
Yeah, and we'll see how it goes. I'm really hoping on check delivers, but I hope to be delivering as well because, as you said, it is a high pressure team meeting on check. So I hope to help him out when I can, and hopefully we take constructors at the end of the season, which is our goal as normal.
Indeed, it's a good goal to have as well. And I believe, by the look of things so far, it's a very, very achievable goal. A lot of teams out front looking harmonious. We're yet to see, really, because I think that Aston Martin team and Max and Holman can really deliver at the top level as well. If they can do it at the start of the season, we'll wait and see. But is there anyone in particular that you're really watching out for this early on as to, okay, this could be one of the guys that I'm going to be battling week in, week out, basically? Who have you got pegged on that list that you're predicting to be around for the start of the season?
Well, I think everyone in the league or people that know, I think my main rival for the season coming is most likely Zamo Bamo.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's had the upper edge on me last season, but I've had technical difficulties. It's my PC had a bit of a mishap mid-season with some lag. So hopefully this game it's all up to date. I can actually race, no issues. So I'm looking forward to it. I wouldn't rule out, as I said, JMR, because as I said, the second drivers of the main four teams that are favourites, they're going to be crucial to deliver points, and so I think that will make a big impact on races. But Aston Martin, like you said, I think one person that I'll keep an eye on is Holman. But it's only practice. We don't know how Emerina's doing right now, sitting P5 on a set of hards. We don't know who's sandbagging, so can't really get myself a selective few from practice session.
Yeah, no, it's impossible to tell this early, and obviously we won't know until the end of those 18 minutes in qualifying. That if you're feeling really confident, do you think anyone would actually dare to sandbag up to the last possible moment in qualifying? Or is that kind of gone out the window with us now running short quali? Is everyone going to be on it straight on Monday?
I think there'll still be some sandbagging because I've said this to a few people. Because now it's gone to, I think, 18 minutes qualifying it is now?
Yes, it is. Indeed.
That's only enough time for 3 runs.
Yeah.
And depending on what circuit it is, you've got to be crucial when you want to go out, because most likely everyone will come out first, then everyone will come out towards the last 2 minutes of the session. So you really got to find a certain gap or a certain time where there's going to be nobody on track to get the full amount of corner entry, full amount of traction around the circuits as you can. Because that one busy time, you never know if there's going to be a spin further up the road. Someone's going to have a mistake, someone's going to block you by accident. So you've always got them risks doing them time laps towards the start of the end of the session. So you really got to maximise your potential when you go on the lap. So,
yeah, it's going to be I think it's going to be a bit of a more strategic season overall, this in terms of racing, qualifying, everything. And obviously now running behind someone and qualifying with this dirty air is not really viable running even close to someone, is it?
No, it's not, because the dirty air in this game is more effective, that I've noticed. So you really got to be careful of that, especially when you do race long runs, because that could hurt you quite badly, lose your time. So I'll see what plans are, because I haven't really done a race yet, and see how it will go. So I think Monday will be the telling of that story.
Indeed, just how's it feeling heading into quite an experienced NEF1 driver now, been with us for a lot of seasons, heading into a season 10 with a lot more expectation than you have done before? Just how How do you reckon you'll cope with the pressure throughout? Because there is going to be an additional level of expectation placed on you now.
There will be high expectation for myself, because of how I performed over the seasons. I mean, I haven't hit the 100-point mark, which I'd kind of like to this season. So that's something I really got to try and strive towards. But it's going to be, I think, the toughest I've had yet, considering the pace as I'm seeing right now on the timing screen. And also, I think it's going to be the toughest season that I've been in with points, because I don't even know I'm going to be able to get the top 10 at least. I think there's so many drivers in this league right now that have proven themselves over the last few races or last season that can be constantly in the points. And maybe that could affect someone like myself, Zamo, or Jamar. Could affect us a lot more, because we would normally be in the top 6, top 10, between 6th and 10th, normally race in, race out. But I don't know who else is going to step in that gap now, because you always got to know seeing what new people are going to like. That when Tez joined, straying podiums, like it was just pretty much a slap in the face to me, because he was that quick. And it was just hard to keep up. So I think Harmon, will be the next one to pretty much put pressure on me, seeing his pace. So we'll see how that goes.
There could be a lot more movement throughout the field this season, really, than there has been before. I reckon it could go very, very race to race as to who is performing, who is, and if you have an off day, that might be the difference between finishing a P6 and a P11 this season as compared to P6 last season. So it's going to put the pressure on everyone to just get those practice hours in, do the work necessary, because I don't think podiums or wins are going to come to people this year if you don't put in the work.
Exactly. I think, yeah, if you don't put in the practice, you don't. So what I used to do was, in my first season, I would just get a setup ready, do a few laps in time trial, that's it, and then take the race as it goes. But after having experience with former teammates, they know who they are. I'm not going to mention their names. Practice by yourself or with your teammate before the race is crucial, because you can strategically do some like slipstreaming. You can say when you want to pit, maybe undercut, or see if the tyres can extend, do an overcut. So
yes, just sorry to interrupt you there. That is Squidge going for maybe the first proper overtake of the season on potentially championship rival Tess, and he's going to be coming back at him round the outside, coming out of turn 2. And this actually, if this is a showcase of what is to come, then I'm very much looking forward to it, because that is some good hard racing between our two former championship protagonists, Tess and Squidge there. This could be good if that's the type of racing we're expecting.
I think this is going to be a Nico Rosberg versus Hamilton season for these two. I think these two are not going to give. Oh, sorry, Verstappen and Hamilton, because these two are not going to give each other any space whatsoever when battling. I think these two are going to go full gloves off, just hard racing, because it's so important for either one of these drivers to get the first win, or just to give them a boost of confidence going into the season. And Tez obviously won't be able to do the quick downshifts in this game, as it was in F1 24. But everyone's got weakness that we could see going into the season. So we could find out if Squidge is going to overcome his deficit from last season and take the title. But Tez, he's got a big chip on his shoulder, because nobody at NEF1 has done a back-to-back. So could he be the first driver to do a back-to-back?
Yeah, it's been difficult in the past, obviously, as well, since most people clinched
again.
Yeah, obviously, winning back-to-back, it's easiest to do under one game cycle. Switching game cycles now, as Tess has done, is going to be notoriously difficult, keeping it together for 2 seasons on 2 different games. If you can do it, then it's mad respect. Here goes Tess down the inside of Squidge, and he should have that move covered by the time they get to the braking zone. But not quite, so the DRS maybe not as effective as it has been before. Giving Squidge just the ankle of room need, and that should be Tess with the position. That's some lovely racing between the two in this practice session. I'm hopefully I'm hopeful we can see a bit more of it. But just one final question to yourself then before we let you go and have at it for the last 40 minutes. Just how crucial do you think getting off to a good start this season will be for the momentum heading into the first, say, 5 races? How crucial will momentum be over the course of this season?
Oh, it'll be crucial. Absolutely crucial going into the first 5 races. I think one race, if it doesn't go your way, it's alright, you've got something to build on. But you don't want to have that constant problem going into the season further on because that could lack you and your team. But I've always been like pushing towards the back end of every season. I've really struggled with like the first season, but this calendar is completely different. Um, I'm most looking forward to the Mystery Grand Prix because it's a 2-stop as well this season. So we don't know what it's going to be. Could it be a reverse? You never know. But it's going to be an exciting season. I'm looking forward to it.
It should be a very, very interesting one for sure. And one final question then. Are we for the first time in an NEF1 going to see the Maltese flag on top of the podium?
Well, never say never. I'm going for it.
Never say never, I'm going for it. That has been Noah 48 there with a couple of closing remarks. Thank you very much for joining me in the commentary booth for the first 20 minutes of this final practice session in Bahrain. Representative laps being posted now, so good luck and have at it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure, buddy. I'm sure I'll speak to you many times over the course of the season. Take care, have a good one.
Thank you.
Alright, then that has been Noah 48 in that Racing Bulls, then one of the teams favoured for a championship into this season, and one of the drivers that we expect to see battling at the sharp end, hopefully. Mac is doing really well at the moment. He's at a 130.816 here on a set of medium tyres in his McLaren. That should be an Aston Martin, at least same engine, so we'll give him props for that. Matty doing well in the Alpine. He's shortly followed by Mr. Wilco on his other mediums. Squidge and Tess have been focusing on battling each other instead of posting competitive lap times, so that'll be a bit of representative running from them, but they'll have good data on how this game actually feels like doing battle with setups. They are going to be running the setups they're going to be running for the race now, you'd assume, to get as much representative data in as possible. Holman is on the back of one of the Racing Bulls as well. You would assume then that is under check. No one not yet have made his way out on circuit. Some rain has gone along quite strongly. Luna not had the best start to the session, joining a little bit late. She's on a 134.152. As for Jamar, not seen him yet this session. Obviously, I've not been commentating on what's been going on throughout the session. But a 132.725 for the second Ferrari driver's team. It's up in 4th place. But this is the way we expect this season to potentially be in terms of results as well. That it could vary very, very much. Could be a P4, P3 one day. That could genuinely transition to a P9, P10, P11 on pace the next race, as I think it could be that close. But we'll wait and see. We could have another record-setting streak by Undercheck, winning 11 or 12 races in a row to start the season. That would be championship over. As we're now fully in the night sky here in Bahrain, castle looking absolutely gorgeous as well. These are the views we'll be getting for the Grand Prix to come. It's going to be good to see. So, a bit of graining on the rear tyres of Undercheck by the look of things, and those rear tyres are going to be taking a beating around this track. A lot of hard tyres still onto the cars, and we're expecting to see the mediums starting to come out in high fashion quite soon. But it always just takes a bit of time. Usually you do one long run on the hards, maybe a bit of a shorter one on mediums, and then you start using up soft tyres for a couple of different runs, including maybe one quick run, a couple of race runs or fast runs as well. As Noah now out on circuit for the first time this session is gold and teal helmet. That's a lot better off-board shots this game than it was last game, so I might be using the off-boards a little bit more throughout this game cycle, hopefully. But it could be different, obviously, when cars racing side by side. The onboards are a lot easier for actually covering what's going on. as we have Kit going down the straights on a 133.179, so it's a bit of a better session for him so far, ahead of ABT and Luna relatively close, within 4/10 of a second to Recon 21. But Matty definitely being one of the big winners of testing day 2 here on F1 25. The season 10 launch of NEF1 is over in about 35 minutes. And then the next thing that happens is we go lights out in Bahrain on Monday night at 9 p.m. The session is going to start then, not 8 p.m. as these days have been. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Those events are actually going to be shorter than these preseason tests, but a bit more action-packed and entertaining, hopefully. Mr. Wilco going through the first couple of corners. There's a lot more grip around here now, but it also means you're more susceptible to error, as you might push the throttle down a bit too hard coming out of the exit, and that'll trigger a spin. There's not going to be the same level of caution going through turn 1, 2 and 3 on this game as there has been in previous years. That's been one of the trickiest corners on the calendar. Squidge does the downhill braking heading into turn 6. A Samo there with the fastest lap time of all by half a second over Makis on medium tyres, I believe, as well. So that's a blistering lap set by Samo, and it's beaten immediately by BT on a set of softs. That is one fast McLaren at the moment going strong. His teammate there, Stahl, sadly absent today, along with the two Williams of Wigan and Djokovic. So no Swedes on the out on track today, unfortunately. It's a bit of a shame as a Swede myself, but we'll have to get over that fact. Onrachek's not really put his best foot forward so far, but he's on a set of hard tyres, so I'm sure those rapid laps will be coming up shortly. As Recon has made his way past Kit out on circuit, and he's just pushing on here on an outlap on a set of medium tyres. As Kit is just trying to get representative laps in on his mediums before they expire. That's one of the trickier things about these practice sessions, is making sure your tyres don't go off before you've done the running on them that you want to. If you have a spin or something, that can really mess up the order of things. As Samo now very much on the back of Kit. Is he going to go for a little move into the final corner? Can't do it quite yet. Might have a go on the straight. It's a big traction loss there for Kit on the exit, and I think we're about to see Samo have a go at it. Needing the extra downforce though. Here we go, Samo to the inside, being squeezed a little bit in a practice session. I'm sure he won't be overly happy about, but forcing his way through, and Kit having to take to the escape route. Should have maybe just given that one up instead of battling it away. Samo will be potentially slightly annoyed with that. Haas coming through there as well. I believe that should be Recon, yeah. Mr. Wilco at the moment on the other side of the circuit in P6. So Wilco definitely one of the drivers that have stood out positively in these practice sessions as well. It's been overall good laps, good performances from Mr. Wilco, who has established himself as one of the higher midfield drivers this season after struggling for a majority of last season, having a good performances towards the end. But right now, he's really getting along out there. As this battle just continues to go on, then. As Squidge is going to go around the outside of Tess, heading into the braking zone of turn 4. Is he going to be able to make that work? And quite a bit of room, and now has to go around the outside of a next corner, which is going to be ever so tricky, but if he's got that done, he should have the move pulled off. Squeezes Tess on the exit. That's the move done before braking, heading into turn 7, through 8 and 9 or 9 or 10 then. Sorry, it's a lot of corners around this place. It's quite difficult to remember. That's turn 9, turn 10, sorry. Now heading into turn 11, this sweeping left-hander up the hill on the power as early as you possibly can for Squidge, then through the right-hander of 12 where the inside curve used to be so deadly, it's not anymore. and turn 13, which is a very, very different corner on this game than it has been on previous iterations. And on to the last corner, which is technically labeled as 14 and 15. That's a slight kink on the exits for some reason. Is actually specified as corner. This little right-hand kink going through now is somehow actually a proper turn. As here we go then, this little... Oh, Jesus Christ. The test just throws it into the pit lane, giving no regard to braking, as Holman goes third fastest with a 1:30.771. Still a bit of Samo by 0.4 of a second, but it's a good promising lap that from the Aston Martin. So how is Noah getting along then? Hard tires on the back of that car, or on the sides of that car, and it's a 1:32.120, his best lap time so far. That should be improving this lap as he jumps up to P8, a 1:31.467 on how one a tire, 4 lap old hard tires. That's quite a good lap that from Noah, pushing himself further up the grid. Only 2 tenths behind Matty, who has set that lap on, again, a set of hard tires. So Matty just with a slight advantage at the moment, but there's tire wear and stint length involved as well. Luna, difficult session so far, not made an impression, 15th place on 1:34.086. As we are about to wrap up this day of testing, then the last 28 minutes is coming. It'll be interesting to see what the last 5 minutes of this session is going to be, if it's going to be a somewhat representative qualifying run, or if we're going to see people just having a go at maybe a couple of different things. Hopefully everyone is enjoying this prolonged form of practice. Quite a high turnaround for an event like this. It's the first time we've ever tried something like this. And the attendance is, we're very happy with this for a non-competitive event such as this is. As now Ondrejek starts to flex his muscles a little bit, a 1:30.186 is the best time of the session so far now by the Racing Bulls. As Max is going to cross to just do a slightly slower time on a set of soft tires. Those are not quite up to the pace of the one-time champion, but Ondrejek, one of the guys we expect to be out there battling at the front straight away, and in that Racing Bulls, which look very, very good on the night sky as well. Sam Obama looking like a completely new driver pace-wise on this game as well, so it'll be interesting to see how he's going to get along. We've heard from quite a lot of the top guys already during these 2 days. We've interviewed Tess, Squidge, Matty, Samo, and Noah now over the course of these sessions. The only one missing right now that I would love to get a word from at some point is Ondrejek. We'll see if we can pick that up over the course of the season, because it's a bit late trying to establish something now. Kit with a bit of difficult time coming out of turn 10 then. Just to be expected. Hagen the power down early there as Matty's improved his best lap to a 30.297, and Makis has retired and left this session. So he's done with practice for the season. Then we'll see Makis again for the opening round of the NEF1 Championship in 4 days' time. 9 PM sharp is when the event is going to be starting. That'll draw to a close at about this time, you would imagine, in 4 days' time. Yeah, about now, a bit later perhaps. See, BT's come across for a 29.891, fastest lap of the session. Beats out Ondrejek and Matty by a few tenths of a second as Kit comes across 1:31.530. Still 13th, fastest ahead of J Marvo, who's on a very different run, I believe. Medium tires. That's 8 tenths down his time, or up on his time, sorry, and improving. That's for sector 1 alone. And improving even further through sector 2, second and a half up in his time, and this should be a very, very fast lap indeed. Max, I'm afraid that even if I do give you an invite now, if you're listening to the stream, you won't be able to retake control of your car if for some reason retired you, which isn't uncommon. I'm gonna send you an invite just to give it a go, but I don't think that's recoverable. We'll give it a shot. As JMR went up to 9th place with that lap, just behind him, Rain ahead of Tess, which is encouraging stuff. Samavan is pushing on the Alpine alongside Matty Adam 98. Both of them are doing a similar run. You would imagine those two are communicating with each other at this point as well. That's then medium tires on that car. He's broken away, he's broken away from the battle with Squish 2017 earlier, and now he's just focusing on doing actual representative laps and potentially, you would imagine, a race run at this stage. Just getting a feel for the medium tires and how the strategy could potentially be coming up this Monday, as it's a predicted 2-stop by the sound of things. And with the way tire wear is. Please give me an update on that in chat if you do fancy a go at it. So right now, the difference between 1st and 14th is the representative laps is about 1.6 seconds. So it's a small field gap right now as well. So that is the Alpine of Matty Adam 98. We are on board with switching over to Ondrzej, coming through those same couple of corners that Matty just went through. Tricky downhill braking, one of the harder braking zones on the calendar. I think everyone's going to vouch for that opinion as well, especially those running no ABS on, including Matty, Noab, no runs without, I believe Tess as well. So managing the braking through those couple of corners on Monday is going to be crucial as to not eat up. I would imagine it's the front tires you lock if you lock up into there. As then Matty rounds the 4th corner and now heading into the notoriously tricky sector 2, where there's a lot of time to be found. It's been a bit flattened, especially the curbings on this track on this game, which is going to make that sector 2 ever so more flowing. You can kind of ride the exit curbs a bit more and entry curbs, as Matty is just placing his right wheel on them. You never touched the curb on the outside on the last game. You do now, just to make the approach that little bit wider. If you'd done that on last year's game, you'd be dragged off after the second. There's a couple of seconds worth of lap time gone even. Tess is remaining in P9 at the moment, not improving on his previous best, and neither is Jamar. Those medium tires should be quite close to doing that soon. less than 20 minutes ago in practice here before the end of non-competitive running in NEF1. So when a BT looking very fast in a straight line, and thus that car is just over 300 kilometers an hour actually, so it's not rapid, just appears to be very, very quick as we're with Squidge heading into the braking zone turn 1, and that's a massive front lockup. As BT improves further up to 29.502, and he now has the advantage of the session by about 7/10. Is anyone potentially challenging that? And Reina is on a 29.455 on a set of soft tires. Just I was just about to start looking through whoever was on that tire. Right now Holman is as well, and he's coming up the final 2 corners. And now is he going to be able to challenge with this lap? Just misses out by 33 thousandths of a second. It's a very, very close go indeed. 33 thousandths then separating Moreno and Holman, and that could be an interesting battle to watch throughout the season. 3 drivers separated by just a few hundreds there, 500s to be exact, between Moreno and BT in third. That is time that I'm sure ABT would love to find on this worn down set of tires now. But he's not going to be doing it on this lap, that's for certain, unless he just develops supersonic speed in the last couple of meters. As Matty there on the middle part of your screen is being hauled back into his Alpine garage. We'll see him again in a little bit of time. Sam must just come out on a set of mediums. That's quite surprising this late on the session, coming out on mediums then. Mr. Wilco out on soft tires, same for Luna, Kit as well. Then we're expecting Recon to come out in a bit of time as well. You would imagine soft tires for the second Haas. And soft tires on for Ondrocek, so this could be representative in terms of seeing what he's going to be able to do. A 130.186 on medium tires. What's he going to be able to do on soft? You would imagine him shooting up at the provisional P1 immediately. But it's a completely different car on a different set of tire. 23 laps done by Squidge 2017 already. Almost full race distance. Luna then with a 1.5 second improvement through the first sector alone, but she's only on a 134.086, so it's not been the best of sessions for the Sauber driver. Her teammate meanwhile sitting up in P1, so the entire field's in a Sauber sandwich right now. As 3 seconds up now, that'll place her a solid 10 for 11th right now. But there's a couple of more corners to go to be precise, and a lot of time can be found in the braking on the exit of those turns, so expect to see her maybe up to P7 at the end of this lap, you would imagine. Maybe P8. And P8 it is, so it's a decent prediction, just a couple of thousandths off P7 as I previously mentioned. 130.300, so that's a good handy lap from Luna. That'll give her a bit of confidence. Ondrocek then is on the way to the Sector 2 split. This is going to be an interesting lap to see just how quickly it can go on a brand new set of soft tires in that Racing Bulls. And massively improving now then, coming around the final couple of corners. Sam Obamos improved his time to 29.999. So here comes Ondrocek rounds the final 2 corners. and straight up at P1 by a 10th.5 over Amrena. That's a positive sign for the Sauber and the Aston Martin of Amrena and Holman. Being that close behind to a driver of Ondercheck's caliber is really showing something, if that's a representative push lap from Ondercheck, which we can maybe have a little look at if we do this. And that would have been quite a decent push lap by the look of things. But then we don't know whether it's time to be found as Tess gets ahead of the cars coming out of pit lane into turn 1. He's free to go on his set of medium tyres. Yellow flags again means we can take a look at how many laps everyone has done. They quickly disappeared. So if anyone would like to cause a yellow flag, then please do so, and I will have a look at how many laps everyone's completed. 19 laps for Ondercheck at the moment, which is lovely to see. 20 laps from Sam Obama, 20 from Mr. Wilco as well. The heavy hitters in this session really at the moment is Squidge, 23 laps completed. Lee Matty had quite a high number as well. 19 completed for J-Man, 24 for Tess. So then, 13 minutes to go before the checkered flag on the session and practice drops for Season 10 here. We have Ondercheck with an advantage over Matty, who's out on soft tyres now, just a couple of hundreds behind him. And then we have Amrena Holman, both out on outlets, with BT out on another push lap and improving by just a couple of hundredths of a second. We'll see how he performs coming up to the Sector 2 split. And an ever crucial braking turning point, that is turn 11. The sweeping left-hander up the hill. Crucial to get on the power nice and early here, and that's good from a beat, but is it good enough to continue improving past the two newcomers into the league? Might be. 21 thousandths up. Only one more corner to go, and one braking zone, ace this, and you're on a golden path to a decent lap. BT handles that very, very well. He's going to come across the line now to improve. He's backing off there. Not one to show how quick that lap would have been. So that tells me he probably got a very, very good launch coming out of the final corner. Would that have maybe even rivaled Matty's lap? We'll wait and see, but it looked solid coming out of the final turn. BT then visually, very clearly sandbagging here at the end of the last practice session. We've got people coming into the pit lane and retiring. Squidge is sending the fast lap of the session by 3 tenths of a second. Noah follows him through just a couple of thousandths slower. Whereas Tess in all this, he's still outside on his medium tyres, and well, if he beats those tyres on a warm set of mediums, we all have something very, very concerned about. Recon then on a set of softs that should be able to give him quite a bit of performance. But a couple of people then deciding they are done about 10 minutes early. That is Kit and Ondrzejczyk retiring from the session with 10 minutes ago. Quite curious that Ondrzejczyk's retired that early. Holman up to P4 with a 29.319. So, and here we go. Only a couple of more meters to go before we get to the sector split point with Recon. See if this lap is going to be worth continuing on. 10 minutes to go, and he's not going to be improving, unfortunately. As from Reina, just missing out by 34 thousandths of a second coming across the line, but very, very close indeed. As for the two front runners, neither of them are going to be improving on this cooldown lap. Let's see if they both come in. Squidge is staying out. Noah, however, coming into the pit lane at the end of his push lap. Pure qualifying run than you would imagine for Noah there. Maybe just showing his pace early on here. 9 minutes to go, 9.5 minutes to be exact, in practice. So here we go, and Sam Obama well under braking into the last corner now, just gonna flat do it flat across the line, and it's the fastest lap of the session for Sam Obama, about 0.2 of a second quicker than Squidge. That's encouraging signs for the Alpine outfit. Now we're just waiting for Matty to show the same level of performance. He's 0.5 down on his teammate right now. See, Beatty's now retired from the session. We won't see a late resurgence from him in this session. Finishes the session in P8 with a 29.5 as his best lap time. So then, and we saw this yesterday as well, coming up to the end of the second session. As BT saying, saddlebags for sale at the back of the McLaren garage, so he's not going to give anything away, indicating he might feel pretty good about himself in a qualifying run, especially if everyone else is showing their hand right now. Sam or Squidge, if they're doing competitive laps, which I believe they are at this point, they're giving quite a bit away to someone like a BT. Might not want to give anything away. The 0.7 of a second BT would have to improve by. His best lap is set on soft tires, so it's definitely able to be improved on. Tess is out and out lap on soft tires right now as well, so we'll keep an eye on that. But it's going to be a little bit of time before he goes competitive, as Jamar has gotten it all wrong coming out of turn 10, evidently. And Noah straight back out onto a new set of tyres. Matty is improving through the first sector. How much time is he gained through that technical second sector and the downhill braking zone of turn 9 and 10? Then up the hill through 11 and 12 and onto the sector time split. And are we going to be seeing about that half second needed? 0.3 of a second. Needs to get a good run coming out of the penultimate corner. Needs to get a good run coming out of the final corner as well. And he might have a chance at sniffing around Sam Obama's time. If not, he'll be competing with Squidge and Noah quite evidently. We'll wait and see. Matty Adam comes across the line to complete the lap of a 1:28.934. Not quite good enough for P1. A 10th of a second off, but a 10th of a second quicker than Squidge and Noah, and it's an Alpine 1-2 at the end of practice so far. But I have a feeling we're going to see a bit more movement. As for Tess, he's not on a competitive lap, just started it. I'm going to go on board with him for this lap, see what goes on, if there's any sandbagging as well for the current NEF1 champion. Coming up to the sector split then, what's going to be for the champion? 0.6 up on his time. So he is improving, he's been improving rapidly. It sure doesn't look like any sandbags are on for that Mercedes at the moment. We'll find out when it comes up to the sector 2 split just how quick this lap is. Noah's coming up to that split now. He's improving by 10.5. Could see him up in a P1 at the end of his lap. As Tess is just coming across that line now, and he is up a 1.5 seconds. As Noah comes across, goes third fastest. Not that the best of third sectors then. Tess not having the best of final corners at all. Does he complete the lap? He does. By the sound of it, just letting off maybe a little bit. just before the line there. It didn't sound like that engine was going flat out with battery and all, but it's a 128.977 for the reigning champion, as he massively cuts the first corner as well, just getting around that bit quicker. As here is some rain and the Sauber coming up to the 62 split for what could be one of the last times. As Jamar is now retired from this session in 14th place, a 31 flat for the Canadian Ferrari driver. So that's a bit of a shame seeing Jamar that far down, but as I said, it might not be representative running, we don't know. As for Reina, this sure is. She's going to make her way up to 6th place, 29.187. And it's close at the front now. It's very close at the front. That top 6 being separated by not much at all. 3.5 tenths of a second. If we can have that in qualifying as well, I'll be a very, very happy Swedish commentator. Straight into the pit lane for Recon, then trying to just gain a bit of time on pit entry. If you do that in the race though, it'll be handed a 10-second time penalty. Mr. Wilco has invalidated his lap, but he is one of 2 drivers out on track at the moment. Luna out as well. She's got a point to prove, I reckon now, with best time being a 1:30.300. So then, 3 short minutes remaining in practice here. And the question is now, is it fully gloves off, or are the sandbags still equipped to those cars, hanging off the rear diffuser and rear wings of them to just slow down everything a little bit? As Luna, very strong in practice yesterday, had a bit of a tougher session today by the look of things, not really looking too comfortable around this Bahrain circuit, which could be tricky starting the season here then, with a track that might just take a bit of that confidence away from you early on in the season. It's so crucial to feel walking away from Bahrain that it had a good performance, even if it doesn't pay out in terms of points. Just feeling that you had a good performance is going to do massively well for the rest of the season. If you walk away from Bahrain disappointed, then could be on a negative spiral down. Luna's not improving by a massive amount on this second lap. Not going to help by kind of the last corner either. That's just going to lose her even more time. She's going to come across the line for 1:30.3, something like that, a 1:30.199. Very close to a 2. Moves up a place on Macus, but still slower than Recon by over half a second. But then the entirety of the top 5 is out on outlaps. That includes Holman and Recon as well. Mr. Wilco's out on the fast lap, and Reynos retired from the session in 6th. Happy with the running under the belt. 1:29 to go into the last couple of seconds now. Last 90 seconds of free practice running. Four laps completed by Mr. Wilco. That's impressive. 26 laps by Test, 21-22 for the Alpines respectively. Mr. Wilco then comes around and not for a good time. As Sam Obama is going to be pushing on to try to improve on that 28.8 even more. By the look of things, it looks like Alpine might be going for a 1-2 this session to walk away with a positive feeling. Squitch is retired in P5. Samo's not improving. How's Holman getting along coming up to the sector 3 split? Just improving by a couple of attempts. Good team up to about 6th place out of Bahrain potentially. Noah now coming up to the same point. Could this lap be good enough for P1? It very well could be. It very, very well could be. Can't afford to lose anything. Final corner now. Samos not broken away and improved on his lap, and that's checkered flag dropped for practice. And now everyone's free to complete their final lap, and then it is over. Noah Van coming across. Has he had a good final sector? Almost good enough, but not quite. Second fastest. No one getting close to Samo yet. Tess, is it gloves off for the Mercedes now? At the last possible moment of asking in practice, improving by almost 3 attempts in the second sector alone. So this will be, by the look of things, the fastest lap of the day. Unless Matty can break it, he's not improving through the first sector. Tess then coming around the final corner. This lap would be fast enough even if he sandbags. Tess will go into P1 in the standings with this lap. 28.555. Welcome to NEF1 Season 10, we say, to the Mercedes of Test with extraordinary pace. Matt is improving, nowhere near good enough, and that's lap over and done with. Tess takes the best lap of the day then in Bahrain, and that's a confidence boost and a half for what is to come. Samo, second fastest with Noah in P3. Matty in 4th. It's a strong Alpine outfit for the year. Squidge in P5, and Reina is 6th. Holman in 7th. Undercheck in 8th. Recon in 9th, and Beatty in 10th. But we're missing those crucial qualifying laps from a couple of people. That is Squidge, Undercheck. I'm quite curious as Beatty what would have been able to do as well. But I believe the sandbags are off the car in the Mercedes garage. Impressive stuff that Asamo does. Some lovely donuts there to end the session. But that is going to be it for practice here for Season 10. Next time we see you, it'll be running for real. 18 minutes worth of qualifying around Bahrain. We'll set the grid order for a 29-lap shootout to see who clinches the championship lead early on in the season. Tess is looking strong, Samo is looking even better than expected, and Noah is right up there. That is your top 3 for Bahrain heading into the race weekend that is to come. We will see you on Monday night at 9 p.m. for the Bahrain Grand Prix in NEF1. Season 10 is about to get underway, lads. You don't want to miss out on that. But until then, we will see you in 4 days' time. Have a good one, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and peace out.